Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And if you would mind joining me in 30 seconds of silence. Okay, thank you. We're gonna go ahead and get started. We're gonna start with citizens communication. I have one form already filled out. If you're a citizen and would like to speak, and do I have somebody here from the, oh no, never mind, it's gonna be Jim. Yuri, would you like to stand up to the podium?
Hi, my name is Yuri and I am a resident of Scottsdale Drive. And I was here about a year ago. We've been having issues with speeding at that street, which probably around the neighborhood. And about a year ago, I brought up about maybe speed bumps, which was turned down due to emergency vehicles. I wanted to know what we can get with Loco for other alternatives. Cushions, apparently it's okay with emergency vehicles, so if we could get those. Or even just a digital speed reader like it is in Crystal Falls. Maybe people just don't know that they're going that fast. It is a downhill coming from 183, so maybe they just don't realize that they're going more than 25 miles an hour. But I did some videos to the mud of a guy passing a car because they were going too slow, so they went to the middle lane to pass this person. That could have caused a head-on collision as people were coming from 183A. And then he did it again, same car, 245, which is when the kids are getting out of school. So I just want to make sure that we're getting this addressed. I know that Wilco sent and put those cords to kind of like measure the speeds. They were there for 2 days, and that was it. So I don't know how much data they were able to get from those, but if we can get it for longer, so they can get that. I think that side of the street needs to get addressed.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. I think the general manager has a little bit to add.
I did. I actually reached out to Williamson County and Adam Boatwright did respond to the email that I had sent to him with your video. And he actually did mention that, again, the county is not allowed to add speed bumps to that roadway. However, they are piloting a radar speed sign system, and they are asking if Blockhouse would like to be part of that pilot. And I definitely told him we'd like to participate. So we should see some movement in the future with those speed signs coming in. And so again, we'll be part of that pilot program, and they'll be able to take data from us. So hopefully that will help us with that speeding issue.
Will that also include like a digital reading? I know that the mud on Parkside has it, they have the signs, but they have the radar, but they also have those digital.
This says it's a radar speed sign. So he didn't give me the exact schematics of what that looks like, but I believe that would entail what you're asking for, absolutely.
Yeah, I think it
Yeah,
is.
it would be digital,
I think
yeah.
they will include a digital readout.
Yeah, it's like the sign and the speed, your speed limit is.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I
we will
know
be,
that,
we
yeah,
will
the
be
sheriffs were
participating.
there a couple months ago and they were, I'm sure you guys get reports and there was people that got caught speeding on that street. So it's getting out of control now that they're not even having patience and they're passing cars.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm good.
and with the stuff on New Hope and 183, it's just gonna increase probably the cut through traffic, so we'll see some issues. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any more citizens communications? No? Okay. Anybody else have any questions for Yuri? Okay, we're gonna go ahead and go to 19A, which is Jim, Nebraska Furniture Mart. Welcome.
Thanks again for having me. Can't believe it's been a month already.
Flies by.
We only have 30 more months of this to go. That's a good thing. But yeah, as we talked about last time, and we talked early August, is the intent of me coming here is really to outline the project milestones, discuss updates, and what's going to be happening immediately on site. We don't want to get into specifics. It can be a little bit overwhelming, but things are going to affect the neighborhood. It's really why we're here. We talked about before there were 3 key elements. There was the Shields Sporting Good, the NFM, and then the Hotel and Convention Center. We talked about dates last time. None of those dates have changed. We're still on track with everybody starting and completing on the dates that we discussed last month. Ongoing work and upcoming work. The most probably impactful to you, immediately will be the 3 storm sewer tie-ins that we discussed in early August that will be happening on Creek Run. So those are gonna be starting, probably next week or the week after.
We need a pre-construction.
We need the pre-con for all that, of course, before you get there, and your sign off, of course, David.
I've signed up,
And
just waiting on that pre-con.
make sure that all that happens. So that'll get done as we discussed before Thanksgiving, so we're done before the holiday season starts. And we do have a traffic plan that accompanies that, and obviously we'll continue to do that, but it'd be very minimal impact to Creek Run, all the work is done in the right of way line to the south.
They're gonna access most of that from those sides.
From the site, we'll come through this green fence and access everything from there. Secondly, and we had heard from some of the neighbors, is the north of our property, we have a 30-foot buffer between us and the neighbors. Immediately behind that is that 2,000-foot long retaining wall and CMU screen wall. So that construction started, we're about 25% complete on the retaining wall, which really you won't see, on the east side of the site, it's retaining your, soil from the NFM store, and then it actually goes to grade, and then it reverses and, goes the opposite direction. So that's about 25% complete. That'll be done late, go ahead.
Is that, when I drove out today, I looked and there's a wall they're putting along the residence? It looks like a wall.
How did you see that?
I
That's
haven't-
some pretty good, cause I'm looking at it, but I didn't really see it very well, but yeah.
I don't know.
If you're talking about confusing that with what you think, what may be the screen wall, cause the screen wall is gray in color as well.
It may have been, it was just
Yeah.
back to those residents right over there.
Right, and it's, the highest part of the wall is directly against the east side of the site against the HEB center, so you could probably see that, then we'll start tapering down.
But the wall he's talking about along your property line is 30 feet away from
Yeah,
the back fences of our residents there.
okay,
There's
that's
that
good.
strip there, yeah.
Yeah, so they'll probably be wrapping it up in November, they'll also be starting the CMU block wall, the 10-foot block wall. So that starts, probably early December, and that only should be 44 days, they should wrap that up, in February 2026, so.
February
Those are the
2026,
Up 2025, I'm sorry.
thank you.
So that should be wrapped up, on that time. So those are really the 3 big things that are going on that are gonna really affect your project. One thing that will be happening is not of next month or maybe the November meeting, I'll probably bring representatives of the NFM construction team. Because then we start talking about drilling piers and night tours and things like that, so we're gonna run away for that as well. We'll probably bring a member of the Shields Police to talk about their project as well. So, more to come on that, but everything is on track and we're still headed in the right direction. So that brings us into the roadway project. You wanna talk about that right now?
Yes, that'd be great.
I know we had distributed earlier this week, or maybe even last week, the phasing plan. I'm not sure how we wanna handle that right now. Is it something you wanna distribute? Is it something that's online?
Yeah, we're gonna hand it out.
Okay.
Yeah, we have this right here.
Okay.
That's the, he's got a copy.
There should be 7, there should be 6 sheets to that. So the roadway project is a
Do you have any extra?
public-private partnership. It is being done with the city of Cedar Park and Nebraska Furniture House. Just want to be very clear on that. I want to ask who's doing it, city of Cedar Park or NFM, or the answer is yes. There is a website that the city of Cedar Park has up and running. It's the cedarparktexas.gov/445/mobility project. So you can get on there and they have been providing updates. They will continue to provide updates throughout the whole 28 months that this project is scheduled for. Some of the highlights about that project is there was a traffic study done 2 years ago, and then again re-upped a year ago by Nebraska Furniture Mart, and it right-sized the traffic flow that had to be accommodated for the development of this size. And that was wonderful. I want to make it very clear that NFM went above and beyond that, and they're doing more than what is required in that traffic study. So they're doing everything they can to make sure that the flow on New Hope stays continuous and the access to 183A is as well. So the existing New Hope Road is a 4-lane arterial, it's not going to change to a 6-lane arterial. All of the expansion is going to be north on New Hope, so nothing's going to go south against the town center neighborhood. So the 2-lane expansion will be to the north. And throughout this whole process, I think it's important to remember, we talked about this before the meeting, is the New Hope lanes are going to stay intact. Most of the improvements, 80% of the improvements are done outside of the existing roadway, so it's not gonna be, it's gonna be impactful, it's not gonna be dramatic as far as existing traffic flow. probably the biggest part of the improvements is gonna be the innovative flipped left diamond intersection underneath 183A. So, and I will tell you that every time I look at it, I'm not a traffic guy, I'm not a traffic guru, I get a little confused. I'm like, I don't know, it's really gonna work, it's gonna work. But, that'll be, I think, the first one in Texas or the second one.
Is it similar to what they did at Ronald Reagan in
Yeah, I think so.
1431?
And also
1431, 35.
Yeah, we just have one,
535.
because the trailer, the tractor trailer
Yeah,
traffic,
thank
we
you.
have one, a little odd
Okay.
U-turn goes back the other way to go to 183 north, so either way. So it is a 6-phase project. So if we wanna kind of flip through, I think we'll have the images in front of you. So the first leg of the project is probably the most critical to the project and probably be the most intrusive on the traffic flow, and it's because, as you see in front of you, there are two areas where we have to install culverts in order to get to the stormwater south of the site. One is across Avenue of the Stars, and the second is a major 8 culvert underpass that needs to be installed underneath length of New Hope Drive. So those would be the culverts to put in. You can already see that the removal of the medians has been taking place. Curb and gutter inlets and laying of temporary traffic pavement for traffic control is gonna happen as well. Because traffic control will continually change as we move through this process. It's not gonna be, this is how traffic's gonna flow when we start, and that's how it's gonna flow when it ends. No, as we go from phase to phase, that traffic control plan is obviously gonna change. And you can see the durations on there. That runs from September of 24 through April of 25. The next phase is gonna run from October of 24 to October of 25. And that really focuses a lot on the 183 intersection and underground utilities, construction turn lanes, and potential off-site pond improvements. So that won't affect the New Hope area immediately. The third phase is now we're talking about the widening of the road. So now we're gonna start widening the road the north side of New Hope Drive. So and those would be, include fast tracking, interchange, the west lane widening, and some wet utilities that need to be installed on that side of the road as well. The fourth phase is gonna be implemented in January of 26 to July of 26, and let's see what we're doing that. We'll do the eastbound widening, we're gonna do everything on the opposite side of Avenue of the Stars, on the east side of the Avenue of the Stars, over to the hot spot over there. So that's gonna be some widening and again, continued wet utilities on that side. Phase 6 is the February 26th through October of 26th. That'll be reinstalling of the medians, the left turn lanes, the right turn lanes into the NFM development, as well as hopefully wrapping up and concluding the wet utilities that need to be installed for the widening of the road as well. And then the last phase, so now we're getting into 128, everyone's gonna be happy by then. So that's when we're gonna do our final mill and overlay. So all the stuff that's been tore up, all the cuts that we made in the roadway, all the changes in the pavement finishes, that's when we're finally gonna wrap everything up. Get the final striking down and clean up, close out and get out of there. So that's gonna run from October 26th through the end of 2027. That should be the end. So I know I don't mean to glance over it, I know it's super important and super impactful to everybody that lives out this way, but it's so detailed that to get into it would be hours and hours of conversation. Go ahead.
So I did speak with the project manager, I guess Randy, I think it was Randy.
Randy Looters?
Yes.
Yes.
And with Eric, he controls the signal lights for Cedar Park. And so we talked about, and since we've got Williamson County here, basically we probably will be getting a lot more through traffic since they've extended Scottsdale and made it loop coming off of New Hope. So it's now all the way around, so I have the feeling that you're gonna get a lot of cut through traffic. And so I asked him, he was gonna put a message board up here, and I haven't seen it yet. I said, the residents need to know that this construction project is starting to happen and they can expect delays. So would you just kind of reinforce that and follow up on the backup of that as well? And then I said, since the jurisdiction of Cedar Park stops right here at Crystal Falls, Creek Run, I said, if they could monitor the speeders on that traffic as well. I think Williamson County has jurisdiction, even if, because they're county-wide, can y'all still issue if you,
Yes.
okay, so that's good for our guys to sit here and know, it's maybe you can put a bulletin for that. But as Yuri's, said, Scottsdale's gonna be a really big issue, that is a very slow, it's 20 and 25 mile, is it 25 miles an hour? Yeah, and, that unfortunately is the only street in Blockhouse that directly comes out onto a heavily trafficked road, driveways come out onto it. So we just need a lot of communication, from y'all, and I would love for the board to actually post it on our website, that there are project updates that the city is putting out. Randy did send me those links, so I can forward those to Lisa as well. And just so that we, have our part of our job is, we're not streets, we don't control the streets, but, we do have the vehicle to communicate with our residents, so it would be nice if we could have more information and keeping this updated is very important.
I speak on behalf of NFM, we're completely on board with that, we wanna continue to be, and in the future, be great neighbors and do everything we can to make it as easy and light, as accommodating as it can be over the next
Thank you,
28 years.
and I know you will.
We know there's gonna be some.
Yeah, no, it's part of growth and,
Yes.
and it does happen, but thank you very much.
One direct impact will be how our master water meter is handled. Our master water meter is an area that's gonna be worked on as a part of this project. Carl sent me some information on it, and I've not actually gone in deep and studied it. I've gotten some indication that there would not be relocating the master meter. I want to see that, obviously, we're gonna want to sign off on that aspect of the work at the appropriate time. I hope they don't, but I don't, candidly, I don't see how they're not gonna have to relocate it outside the right of way. I don't think we wanna be reading the master meter with traffic going, 50 miles an hour down the road. So we'll work with the NFM and the group on that. And they're aware of that concern, so that's not new news, but I just wanna tell you, there is one direct impact, but that's a minor piece of this whole project. This project is massive. It just is, and it's very challenging, as y'all are seeing around other parts of town, to widen existing heavily used thoroughfares.
Yeah.
You don't have to go any further than 1A, 3A up here to see that every day, and if you're fortunate enough or unfortunate enough to drive Loop 360, you're starting to see it down there, which they're gonna put Loop 360 underneath some intersecting streets, like 183 is going underneath 29, so.
Yeah.
Can't wait for some of that to happen, so I don't see any of that kind of depth here, but it is gonna be a massive project, and it will go on for a while, but at the end, you're gonna have a pretty nice new boulevard, and I think will be a lot better for your traffic, and will help access to their facility, which will help everybody else do there.
Okay, I'm sorry I had to step out, but are you done with your presentation?
Do you want me to?
No, I wasn't sure,
I didn't want to cut you off.
No.
Shoemaker, do you have any questions?
No, I appreciate you coming down to talk about this, because I think a lot of folks, I think some residents have picked up on the work Cedar Park's been announcing about that intersection, about changing it to one of those double diamond things, so. Those always kind of get people kind of stirred up, because people go, like you said, they're not very intuitive. You follow the signs, but, so I appreciate you coming and talking about this, because, I think, as this goes on, we're getting a lot of questions from residents. I appreciate you running this stuff down for us and making the presentation.
I've expressed before, we're an open book, we're here to make it as easy as we can for everybody.
Thank you. Director Roberts, anything else on your end?
No, he's done a great job answering.
Director Johnson?
Nope, just thank you.
Director Young?
Thank you.
And Lisa and I were sitting here chatting, she's gonna put some of the links into the city on our website, so,
That's
yeah, we'll
It's
get
already
it.
been sent.
Okay, great, thank you so much.
Alright.
Thank you.
If you could let me know, I know you make it set in November and send me that, but when you set those, if you could.
Sure.
Actually,
The sooner I know the better.
two things, we're gonna discuss that tonight because the, November may be up 2 weeks earlier. I also added you to, I don't know if you got it this month, but, when our attorney and our paralegal send out our agendas and packet, I added you and Carl to it.
Yeah.
So you should be
I got it.
receiving them, okay, but yeah, we'll definitely, I'll have Lisa.
So we'll let you know in advance, I think they're gonna set those tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll get that.
I promise y'all, and representative will be here, but I will look for all these meetings.
Okay,
Of course, we appreciate that, and like, we'll do our best to get you the heads up.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
more
you
than
for
24 hours.
Alright, y'all have a great night.
Thank you, you
Have a
too.
good evening. Drive safe.
Okay, let's go ahead and move into consent items. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from August 28th?
Motion.
Do I have a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, number 3, McCall Gibson.
Alright, good evening, everyone.
Hi, Ashley.
As you all are aware, you have to have an audit performed annually, submit the audit to TCEQ within 135 days of year end. So in your packet is an engagement letter that would allow us to perform the audit for the year ended September 30th, 2024, at a fee not to exceed $19,750. We're trying to keep fees relatively stable year to year, save for some minor cost of living adjustments. And so the fee last year, I believe, was $19,250. But the engagement letter is similar to what you've seen in the past. That's because there are no new auditing standards that have come down the pipe or accounting pronouncements that have come down the pipe that would affect you all. So that's the engagement letter. We also, I believe, have the fraud questionnaire, I think, in your packets. Here we just ask that you read through the questionnaire if you're aware of any fraud, allegations of fraud, or areas that you believe to be susceptible to fraud. We just ask that you give us a call, make us aware of that as well, so that we can build in additional auditing procedures to address those fraud risks.
Great, okay, do I have a motion to approve the engagement in this?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, great, we will get that to you. Do we have a deadline to get you the fraud questionnaire?
I generally, I would say maybe before December.
Okay.
Okay, and you want the questionnaire if the answer's no?
If the answer is no, you can just throw it in the trash. I don't need it. But if you have anything that's,
Sure, I just
concerning.
wanted to
We
make
used to
sure.
make sure we didn't have to do the paperwork to prove that we'd answered it for you.
No, no, not at all. All
Okay.
Got it, thank you. We'll take
Thank
a look.
you so much.
right, thank you all.
Okay, let's move on to the report from BHC Owners Association. Ms. Martin, welcome.
Hello,
Hello.
I have one piece of serious business,
Well,
so not just the party girl. We have a new management company, as y'all know, and it doesn't really affect part of the neighborhood, it only affects our OA part. We pay assessments every quarter, and I'm assuming Lisa's getting lots of phone calls because they're doing away with ACH, and now you have to do an e-check, and there's a way you have to do it. So if you're getting phone calls, if you'll just refer them to the management company, they can explain and walk them through it. It's supposedly the same, but different.
Find it the same but different.
Yeah, I don't understand, I just pay once a year, it's a lot easier for me. So I expect the pumpkins to be delivered next week, the fence is going up on Monday. I don't know when the pumpkins are gonna be delivered, I've gotta call, Tim tomorrow, and, that will depend on the rest of the dates for when the pumpkin patch is open. So right now, we're kind of in limbo waiting on.
Lisa, have you worked with the trip on that?
No.
Okay.
We saw it a bit.
Oh, okay, okay, you guys are just, yeah, and then just let me know once they're delivered, so then I can talk to Mr. Beaver and get the volunteers out from National Junior Honor Society.
And our October's real busy, because of the pumpkin patch, but last year we added the camp out to one night at the pumpkin patch, and so we're gonna combine it again this year. And so we're looking at the 19th for that to happen. The camp out obviously takes place over here, close to the pavilion, and then the pumpkins are over here, and we do some activities to get people through both of them. So it was really fun last year, planning on it being fun this year. And then our annual meeting is November 9th, and so we will not have a regular meeting. So if you'll probably start getting phone calls. I'm sorry, Lisa and Amy, I really don't think of ways to make it busy. So that's, I guess that's all I have.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks, Amy. Thanks,
Okay, go ahead and move on to Williamson County Sheriff's Office, Deputy Lovato.
Nothing really major happened this past month, everything went pretty well. I know there was some issues about locking gates with vehicles in it. I know that we had already talked about it, and I know you guys saw probably in one of the deputies' dailies that he actually was able to contact the RO to get them to come move his vehicle. So we are trying to make sure we find them before we lock the gates. And I know that was gonna be a topic tonight, so.
Yeah, I think we have an agenda item, and hopefully you'll be able to stick around.
Actually, we'll move it up to right after your discussion.
I was actually at defer across the street when I came here tonight, because there were so many people at the pavilion, so I might be talking to you.
Well, but you guys changed it to 10 o'clock now,
That's
so.
right.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's just kind of, it just, you know, it's literally like, you know, it's a good point to have this discussion, because, you know, as a pavilion, if, you know, I'm on the board, but if a resident had come late, or one of our vendors had come late, right? They had to defer across the way, which is good,
Play some
because use all our
basketball.
facilities, but definitely, it's kind of funny it came up today.
And then, we have 2 deputies to come out for National Night Out. And that's about it.
Awesome. Suzanne's in the audience and she is hosting one of the national night outs on Beverly. So, yeah, and she has root beer floats.
Oh, how nice.
You have to go back and use it.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay, so is that all you have?
Yes, ma'am.
Not all of it. Okay, then let's go ahead and move up as under amenities. Number 8, okay, so overnight parking at district parks. Director Young, you wanna just start this discussion?
I think kind of simply, if somebody's parked and we wanna lock the gate, you should either have it towed or not lock the gate. We're gonna be, you know, sun goes down, we lock up their car, they don't have access to it, they may have a plane to catch, who knows what they've got going on, why they left it there a little bit past dark. I understand that there's an attempt, I don't know if my cell phone is tied into my license plates, but I'm not sure that everybody's is, you know, maybe a new car, I don't know. I think we need to have a policy that we are not to lock up anybody's car. If there's any emergency and we need to lock it, let's tow that car where the tow company is open 24/7, they can collect their car at that point, but I think we may be liable for problem, even if we've got signs, we cannot hold on to somebody's property like that. Certainly not something that can be used in an emergency or anything like that.
Okay, I'll go next, just because I'm on the subcommittee, we've had discussions about this, and then I'll go around the room. Also, like, let Sean speak as well as Deputy Lovato. At one point, about a year ago, we decided that we would not have the deputies tow the cars for various reasons, and that if a car was left in there and the next morning, it was still there beyond, you know, a period of time, it would be up to the GM to make the call to the towing company. So we just put that policy in place about a year or so ago. Director Young and I had a conversation about keeping cars in there and if we would be liable for it, and I talked to Sean and we will not be. Lisa has made signs so that the gates will say, if a car is left here after the gates are locked, you know, it's your responsibility basically. And I don't think that we need to be leaving gates unlocked just because a car is out there. You guys do make every attempt, I've been out there, you guys have found me, so I'm not necessarily for that. Director Shoemaker?
Just I'm really concerned about the cost on the towing, what is our tow cost?
It doesn't cost us
Depends on the
It
company.
doesn't cost us anything. What we do is if we have over 24 hours and the resident doesn't come to pick up the vehicle, we'll reach out to Triton Towing and they'll come and pick it up and it's at the cost of the resident.
Okay, so you don't bear no cost for calling
None
right
at
now.
all.
And just to correct something, I think, the phone number will be on the sign, right?
It is.
So,
It is.
no, we don't have signs out there right now,
Yeah, we do.
Well, there's, Triton Towing does have.
Towing
their
sign,
phone number.
but I'm talking about the new sign that we'll put on the gates saying that these will be locked and that any vehicles, you know, will be locked inside here, to have, so they can contact you the next day. Okay, I'm sorry, Director Shoemaker, did you have anything else?
Not right, I might come back later.
Okay, Director Roberts?
I do concur with you, Director Logan, that, if we need to enforce the policy, because people could start using it as an extra parking lot. And unfortunately, I've observed it over the years, very, very rarely do we ever have a situation, very, very rare. But I have observed when they do lock them in, they'll just drive over the grass. So they could damage the irrigation and stuff like that. And I do think the gates need to remain locked, that's what there are for security measures, so that you don't continue to have, people just derelictly decide to sleep in their car. I think it's been reported that some people have been like asleep in their vehicles. But anyway, I don't have that as proof, but I've heard it from somebody else, and I agree with what you're saying, we need to enforce it, it's in the rules, but I think, don't change the policy the way it is, leave it like it is, the signs are posted, I agree with the communication on the signs.
Okay, Director Johnson.
I guess I'm still kind of processing it, but I guess I wonder, wouldn't it be more inconvenient to them to tow it than to leave it there? I mean, I guess if they got to it right away, but I guess I'm just trying to follow.
If it's towed, they can collect it within an hour. If it's held there overnight and we have a absent parks guy, it may not get open till 9 o'clock in the morning.
I guess if they have another car, they could get it, or Uber, I guess. Okay. No,
Then, okay, Deputy Lovato, I'd love to hear your,
Well, if it's an emergency and they need to go get it out, they have to find transportation to get it out, which therefore, if it's an emergency, that transportation can take them to their emergency. And not only that, but now you're incurring a charge on those people, and like you said yourself, you don't wanna do that to people, so if we have it towed and they're a resident, then now it's gonna incur a charge on them. If they're in the neighborhood, we can run their license plate and we can go knock on the door. We'll see if a phone number pops up, if it doesn't, then we go to the address and knock on the door. If it's somebody from out of town, like Austin, Cedar Park, then they're not supposed to be here anyway, then they did that to themselves, and, I mean, made every attempt. I've called people that live in Cedar Park, Leander, that's not in Blockhouse, and they've been able to come back and pick it up, but after that, I mean, it's their fault, and they can wait till the morning.
So with regards to towing, I believe the board agreed that the deputies are not to be responsible for the towing, just report it to the GM, right?
Yeah.
So there's not gonna be overnight towing, it would be a GM thing, that's where we're at right now.
Yeah, but you just said you would rather have it towed
Right.
because they can get it in and out.
Right, the following day, or if it's stuck there for too long.
oh, maybe I misunderstood you.
Yeah, I
I thought you were
misunderstood that
saying to keep so you wouldn't lock the gate, you would keep the gate unlocked and have it towed, then you could lock the gate.
Yeah, it would be towed the next day or the next weekday.
So then you could go ahead and lock the gate.
right, I don't wanna hold anybody's car.
I'm not understanding.
So I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're saying leave it unlocked over the night, and then Lisa will tow it, or Amy, I don't mean, but the general manager will tow it in the morning, is that right? Or whatever. Right, okay.
Oh.
So it is open all night, and then it's towed in the morning,
Yes, if they haven't,
if they haven't gotten
like,
I'm just making sure I understand you, so, I got you.
I guess I'm confused then, where's the emergency? Cause I thought that's what you said, the reason that you would rather have it towed, cause they can get it out within an hour, if there is an emergency, rather, nobody's there to unlock the gates if it's locked in there.
so I want people to have access to the car, for whatever reason, car broke down, whatever, maybe they've got their own tow truck coming to pick it up. I just don't wanna add problems to problems. If it's there for 24 hours, we can get it towed, and then they can collect it whenever they're ready. But to hold somebody's property from them when they may need to catch an a flight, or whatever it is. Maybe they just need to jump from their, friend who's on their way, be there in 30 minutes, but we're gonna be locking it up.
Well, if they're gonna do that in 30 minutes, then we'll be able to make contact with them. and
I
talk.
understand, sometimes you guys ship ends at 10 or whenever, like, hey, this is the last thing I'm doing. And another thing on that is, it's not just the deputies, that it's not their priority to lock the gates. If they're not around that night, we've been locking the gates. And we don't have access to, license plate database, to addresses and such. So as a director, should we be locking those up as soon as sun goes down?
Signs are posted, they're legally posted, am I correct, Sean?
Yeah, so let's, I would like Sean to weigh in on this because there was two directors disagreed on a legal point on this.
Yeah, from my perspective, I mean, if we're putting up signs letting people know that the gate's gonna be locked, I don't have any legal concerns about the car being there overnight.
Okay, they cannot come back and sue us because we kept their car behind a gate that clearly states
And
that these are locked.
And if they drive away and break a sprinkler, who's liable for that? And how are we gonna?
They are, that's criminal mischief.
Okay, did we get the license plate on the report? Do we recall?
For which one?
The one that was locked up overnight? I thought didn't we lock one up, or is that policy to get the license plate?
Well, in order for us to try and find the resident, we have to run the license plate, so it's all recorded.
Well, you'd run it, but would it end up in the police report?
No, we don't give you guys license plate numbers or addresses or anything like
Okay.
that.
So,
But you,
then we
from
wouldn't
the
know,
report,
we wouldn't know who ran over the sprinkler then.
but from the report, you can file a claim, or file a report. All of that is stored in data. They can go back to the catalog and see what vehicle was ran at what time, at what address, and we can put two and two together.
Okay.
It's ran by the state keeps records of all that.
And
You have to be certified and have security clearance to do that, so they keep record.
and let's say a director locks it, and they don't,
You can write
Noted.
it down.
okay, we could. If so, we need to make that policy. Whoever's locking up, people's cars, keeping it from them. I would like to think that they occasionally don't get locked at night. And it's not like we get a crime wave every time one gate is unlocked, especially like one of these smaller ones here. Mono may be a different situation, but we're talking about Tonkawa parking lot, this parking lot, and that parking lot. I don't think we should be giving those people, withholding their car from them or having it towed when they're having an emergency and they couldn't be here in time to drive their car off. For one reason or another, car's broken, they're in a hurry.
Okay, so, let's go around the table one more time, because I see a lot of quizzical looks on people's faces, and then I'm gonna call for a motion, okay? Sean, do you have anything else to add to this? Okay, I'm hearing a lot of what ifs, and I don't think this is really truly has been a problem. And I am not in favor of keeping a gate unlocked because there's a car there at 10 or 11 o'clock at night, and you guys do make every attempt to find the owner, okay? Director Shoemaker.
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to understand what the issue, I'm trying to work through what the issue, so a person comes in the park, has the car there after 10, it's locked up. And so the deputies will try to run down who it is, the license plate. If they're not a resident, or I guess period, who you're trying to run down, you're gonna tell them, hey, you wanna come get your car, right? So I guess if they can't be run down, like, I don't know if we can really help them, right? Cause if it's like borrowing a car, I guess I'm just trying to understand, like, so what exactly, cause I misunderstood, you're saying that we shouldn't lock the gates, we should tow people whenever we find them overnight. So you're saying that we should not lock the gates, but then we should tow them in the morning? That's what I'm trying to understand.
If they've been there for long enough
Yeah.
and we get the report, Lisa gets it, then she could take over doing the towing. We've agreed not to have the police do that, but we could have it towed. And, maybe we just have it towed before they get locked the next night. They got that much time. Lisa puts in a message to the tow people, hey, gate's gonna be locked, let's get it towed at this time, if it's still there.
Okay, okay, I understand what you're asking for, I still don't quite understand the purpose, but that's,
I'm just trying to avoid keeping somebody's car from being used. And their option is to drive over sprinklers or whatever it is.
but I mean, I guess if they can find the deputy on patrol, right? I mean, I guess, I don't know if there's a non-emergency number for the county at night, but I would think that if you can get a hold of the deputy on patrol, right? You'd be like, hey, my car is locked in the gate.
I think we gotta understand that is a very low priority, if any priority. Meeting with Chief David, he said that, their priority is not, HOA restrictions, pink flamingos in the yard, it's not
Yeah,
locking
well,
gates
no,
and
this is
such.
more on the owner of the car, right, that they would then reach out And I would assume it's like, I guess, I don't know how y'all handle the non-emergency calls that come through of like, hey, something is up, but I mean,
If there's a deputy free, they can call them and talk to them. I know it actually has happened in the past where, and I'm talking years and years ago, that a vehicle was locked in there, and there was just by chance a deputy that worked for the MUD that was working that night, and he was able to come unlock the gate, because he was working regular shift, unlock the gate for them, let them get out, and then lock it back.
well, I guess the thing is like most of the time at night when we have deputies here, right? Like, most of the evening, like, that's when criminal mischief occurs, y'all are patrolling, right? Like, looking at the reports under tab 5, like, you know, I mean, y'all are maybe not 2 in the morning, but y'all have someone here a lot in the evening. You know, that's kind of what's good, is like, so this is occurring about the time the gates are, I mean, that's like, this is the coverage time, so like, yeah, if someone comes at like 4 in the morning and I'm finally getting back to my car, but then at that point, you're probably gonna get a shot, so I guess I don't quite
So
understand.
there are times that a director locks the gates,
Okay,
where there's no big follow-up, just lock them up.
okay.
There are times where patrol is working, and then it's like, lock the gates, then with patrol, right? They go about, right? So they're not gonna be around the whole time. Sometimes they show up right at gate locking time, then they lock them, they do the patrol. Sometimes Deputy Lovato drives, you know, from his home, comes, locks them, and goes away. So there are several times that either a director's locking them, Deputy Lovato locks them and then removes himself, you know, goes back and, you know, to his family, or the patrol, non-Lovato patrol would end their shift at that time. To be unable to unlock them.
But, I don't want to belabor everything, if anybody else has any questions, I don't wanna.
Okay, Director
Sorry.
Roberts?
I don't understand the issue. I mean, I don't think it's a problem. I think this sounds like an isolated situation where somebody must have known somebody and they got locked in. And I think it's just very, very rare, am I correct, that you had this situation? So we're sitting here spending attorney time talking about something that really doesn't need discussing. Leave it the way it is, it's fine.
Have you ever needed your car and not had access to it because it got
You
locked
know
up?
what? I don't park in the no parking after hours.
Okay.
Big difference.
Okay, Director Johnson,
I don't have anything else to say.
okay,
Can I say one more thing?
yes, please.
So, at the end of the day, if they're a Blockhouse resident, we obviously afford them every opportunity. If we can't reach them by phone, we actually drive to their house, go try to make contact with them. Majority of the time, I would say 9 times out of 10, we are able to make contact with them. The majority of the people that we can't make contact is because they don't live in this neighborhood. And if that's the case, then their vehicle shouldn't be in there anyway, because they have to be accompanied by somebody that lives in the neighborhood, so they're violating y'all's policy. If you say, hey, you know, let's not lock them if there's a vehicle in there, all of this is recorded right now, so anybody can go back and watch it. Now, once they hear, we're not gonna lock the gates if there are vehicles parked in there, now people are gonna start leaving their vehicles in there, cause now they know we're not gonna lock them in there. So it may not be an issue now, but by you allowing it to happen, now it's gonna start happening more, because they know, oh, well, they won't lock them if there's a vehicle in here, so just, hey, leave your vehicle in there, and then we'll come back later and the gates will still be open.
Thank you very much. Director Johnson,
I'm
has
sorry, I
one
do have a
last
question.
comment.
So, when, like, let's say right here at Tomlinson, there's a car, when you lock it up tonight, or whoever locks it up, and they don't live here, are they in the park? Do you think? I mean, I realize you can't make contact with them, but where are these people parking and then going? You know what I mean?
No
Like,
one
that's what I
knows.
don't know, I guess that's what
Yeah.
I'm confused about, is where are they going?
I have no idea.
So I can
Sometimes
give
they'll
you-
meet up
They
here
could
and
be
go
playing
somewhere else.
basketball with their neighbor friend.
Well, then they're gonna find
No,
out.
we walk the park.
Yeah, they're gonna
If
find
we see
it.
somebody in the
But
park,
I
we go, hey, are these your
So maybe they're
vehicles?
back in the,
I don't wanna belabor this either, but I'm gonna give you one quick example. And this was years ago, I think I was maybe on board, maybe not. There were 2 cars parked here just in front of the Walker House. And it was here till like 6 in the morning or something, you may or may not recall this. And I remember, I think Tanya was a GM, and Sergeant Kelly was here. And what it was 2 people met to go to a concert downtown and left their car here. But the cool thing is, they parked in front of the Walker House, that's not locked. And if I was gonna go meet a friend in the neighborhood somewhere and do the same thing and go to a concert downtown, I'd make damn sure I didn't park somewhere where there's a gate that says it closes, you know? So I think there's a little common sense there. Okay, so we've all had a couple of times to speak on this. Director Young, do you have a motion?
I'd like to have a motion to vote to not lock cars up and to defer it to GM for follow-up towing if it doesn't get claimed by 24 hours.
Okay, I'll second. Any more discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Nay.
Nay, aye. Okay. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and move on. I do wanna chat with you just afterwards real quick. I got a citizen thing, but it's not, doesn't need to be discussed in the, or, okay, so let's go to, we were on 6. Premier, hello, Mark. We're gonna, and this one, we're gonna cover 6 and 28. Oh, and his check, okay.
So as far as the report goes, it's been a great month, there's been no issues at the pool, with any equipment or anything. Today, we did have a small issue that, Apache was a little low on water and started pulling some air. So we thought we were gonna have to close it because it was pretty cloudy, but when I figured out it was because of air, we were able to cut off the skimmer, start filling the pool, let it clear it up and enough, we could see the bottom and keep it open. All the, chemicals were good, so we were able to do that. But I am gonna keep an eye on that just for a possible water leak, because it was completely full within a day and a half. And then it dropped about 3 inches, so I don't know what may have happened, if the swim team just really used it a lot, or what happened there. So we're gonna keep an eye on that for you. Other than that, everything's been, pretty steady. Tomlinson last weekend opened as this weekend, so we'll get that all cleaned up after, the season ends and get things put away, stacked for you and do a complete walkthrough and, make sure that we're prepared for any off-season stuff we need to, take care of.
Great, thank you. We're gonna go ahead and move to your, his agreement, his contract, which is number 28. Do I have a motion to approve Premier's, the renewal of the pool services agreement?
Motion.
And a second? Okay, any discussion, Director Shoemaker?
No.
Director Roberts? No. Director Johnson?
Only that I'm excited to have you all back.
Yes.
Director Young?
It is really nice not having any pool drama. Thank you very much. We've got enough other stuff, and it's appreciated that you guys are doing such a great job.
I absolutely agree with Director Young, and I'm just so glad that we sat down and met with you and you decided to join our team. And it has been a true pleasure, not just from our standpoint, but from both swim teams and the patrons in the neighborhood, and just all the services that you provided this year. So we're looking to continue that relationship. So all in favor of his contract?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? I dare you. Okay, one final thing, Mark submitted his check on the 13th, or at least, yeah, go ahead.
Mark submitted his invoice on the 16th of September. The closing date was actually the 10th. That invoice is gonna be 1191. I did speak to the accountant. She actually did not have any supplement checks for him. However, I wanted to see if we could get the board to approve tonight, his payment of $46,200 and have her go ahead and send that.
A motion.
Second.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much, I'll make sure to get that submitted on time.
Yeah, it's not like a recurring thing, so thank you so much, have a good evening, I know you need to run.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Okay, so, number
Thank
9,
you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
Blue Ribbon Cooling Heating, Lisa?
Yes, so we were notified during the lantern, I guess it was.
Workshop.
Yeah, workshop, there you go, that the HVAC out at Jumana was not working, so I reached out to Blue Ribbon. You'll see a report from Blue Ribbon there. It did come out to a little bit more than $5,000. And basically what we're looking at is needing to get this, the leaks taken care of, as well as also getting some maintenance done to this item. Total is gonna be, for estimate, $6493, 6423, total is $5,371.31. We did not budget for this, however, we did budget to add a mini split to the pump house at Tomlinson, so I'd like to redirect those funds and get the Jumana building HVAC repaired. I'll need approval on that tonight for you.
Do I have a motion to approve? A second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, thank you very much.
Are we gonna, real quick, procedurally, are we gonna, next meeting, we gonna come back and, what are we gonna, well, I guess we'll add it to our list for a budget adjustment later? Okay, thank you, Sean.
Yeah, good point. Looking at you, Mr. Barnes. Okay, report from amenities subcommittee. So I know, Director Young, you sent over an email, so is that where everything is falling in place here? Is that right?
So,
Okay, yes, I'll go ahead and let you
page
take the lead.
77. I was locking the gates a while back, and talking to the gardeners, and one of the Boy Scout leaders came over. He wanted to point out the electricity, the timers for the lights aren't really working well. He also pointed out that with his experience in electricity, that there are some exposed circuits that should not be exposed. He's able to just pop open this thing, there's exposed copper. The Humano building also has a light switch in the non-air conditioned side where you try and turn a light off, another one comes on and goes back and forth. I'm pretty sure that's not within code. I would like us to start figuring out when and how we're gonna pay for electricity overhaul. And if I may, I'd like to add that in with the outlets for the community garden. I noticed at the community day, the
Market day.
the market day, they are using extension cords, stuff like that, for like the amp, different things. I've liked taking some of my pay from the district and re-adding it to the district in ways that I favor. What I would like to do is to donate the copper and the conduit, the stuff in there. I've talked with Justin, and in the garden, I've talked with Mark about if I was to bring that stuff in, would they be willing to help dig the trench and get everything within code? We would not then be connecting it to the outlet, but when we do the overhaul, I would like us to consider having the electrician add that on there. Basically, they would do the inspection and then add it to the outlet that we do have out there in the garden. I think there's kind of 2 oak areas where they might like to have lit up. They're probably gonna be doing their tents underneath those. And what I'm wanting to do is just have the district fund the electrician to do the quick inspection, connect it up safely, whereas the garden people could do the heavy work of the trenching and all the rest of the installation. So if we can get the electricity overhauled, or when we do, I'd like to be able to just add that in there.
Okay, so do we wanna stop at that? Do you wanna have a motion for that? Cause those two kinda go together.
Yeah, let's have a motion. I don't know when we wanna knock any of this out, but yeah, let's have a motion to do the electricity overhaul in the Humano building. And maybe allow some copper to be installed underground inside conduit for the garden.
Is that your motion?
Yes.
Okay, I'll second. I'll start the discussion. I agree with you that the Humano building does have some issues. I have talked to some other people that have electrical background. It's not in the budget. We discussed it when we were doing the budget, so there's no budget money there right now. I do think, halfway through our budget season, we may, well, we're definitely gonna be looking at our budget every year, but there's gonna be some reimbursements for some stuff on the state of bond money. There's gonna be some stuff that may come up where we could use it. So my suggestion would be, if we could get a quote, have somebody come out and give us a quote, because that's not gonna cost us anything, so we actually know what we're looking at. Because I don't know if an electrician will really come out and certify something, some work that he didn't do, I don't know. And we have to be very careful of who people that do work in the community, because they have to have $1 million, insurance coverage, which some of these guys may have, but I don't disagree with you on your request. I just think that we need to have a better understanding of the full cost. So if we could get somebody to come out and give us a quote and then bring it back, that's my suggestion.
My understanding, Director Young, part of your thought is that some of the people in the community would help with some of the legwork on this, like the community garden people do the trenching work on this?
Yes.
I mean, okay, cause I think we should definitely, as part of our, getting the estimate together on this, also outline the part that volunteers will do, right? Because obviously if the volunteers can, if we can, I guess, depending on what work they wanna do, it may be able to last, and maybe encourage volunteers to start doing some of the work with board approval, so they can have it ready for whenever we do have money, right, versus waiting until later. So I guess, I think we should definitely get quotes, and I think we could also include get the volunteer groups to give us a summary of the work they're willing to do, so that we can tell the contractors like, hey, they're gonna do the manual trenching, you don't have to get a machine, you know, so I think that'd be helpful.
I do think it probably does need a review, but I think we need to obviously start with the scope of services instead of just sending contractors out there, cause they can go make up all kinds of work, so I think if we have a specific, here's what we're looking for, and maybe, Lisa, can you help with that
I can.
possibly? Okay, so that would be my
Yeah.
thing, and I think certainly down the road, look at the budget of it, and if it is a safety issue, folks, then it needs to stop. I mean, no one needs to be near it, so
Yeah.
it's just.
So that's why I think, you agree, I think we're all saying that too, so let's get a scope and let's get a quote, and then really look at how
Yeah.
much of a safety issue it is. Mr. Director Johnson.
Just the problem with June 4th is that I can't really say anything.
I can.
I'm just messing with you. Yes, I agree with the need for the project, and I agree, I can't vote for it without knowing how much it'll be. But, but yeah, I think absolutely we need to proceed.
Okay, let's go ahead and put it on the, I'm sorry.
Yeah, let's get a quote for the electricity overhaul for the Mono building. And then also, an addendum if they would be able to connect power, if we were to run the line, you know, the garden people were running that line, how much more that would cost for that. And then if that's reasonable, then we can approve both of those, and then we could just figure out when we'll have budget and we'll get it done.
Okay, so I'm gonna, suggest that, let's get those on the October agenda if possible, and see how much you can get done before then, and let us know how we can help in any way, but, okay, if you wanna go ahead and continue on?
Sure, the lumber that we have, we need to age it for about 14 months. That was done, early this year. It needs to be flipped, once a year. It's a lot of lumber. I've had some help before, just getting it all set up. I don't know if anybody's seen that out there, but we need to flip those, and, probably too much for one person. I don't know if a director wants to help. I'm also considering, there are 2 high schools in the LSD school district that have woodworking shops. I wouldn't mind reaching out, seeing if they would be interested in helping, the whole lumber project. And then I think that there will be leftover lumber, and I remember that's like one of the bigger things. There's some really nice small elm, they could do a lot of little projects with whatever's left over. I'm looking to get maybe a big table out of it, like conference table, but,
For the
anyway,
no.
I would like to have permission to go out, contact the high school, see if any wood shop, would be interested in helping with that. Or perhaps, just getting, call for volunteers to help me turn that pile of wood. Tear it all down, rebuild it back up.
Director Young, is there any other place that pile can be placed? It's
Uh,
unsightly and obviously a hazard to young children wanting to climb that.
Yeah, we don't have the aluminum, that we need for on top. Maybe we could tarp it a little bit, but we don't want the wind to not be blowing there.
But there's no
We
other
want the
place to
wind to
place
be able
it.
to blow, I'm sorry?
There's no other place to place it.
Sure, we can place it somewhere else, it just needs to be, covered. And it's covered under that pavilion. Again, I talked to the Boy Scout leader, he's like, yeah, all the Boy Scouts know to stay away from that, but who knows when something's gonna go, wrong. We can get some, I think we just need a big sheet of aluminum to put over top of it, we can move it across the parking lot, but regardless of the unsightliness or the safety of it, it's going to be in the district somewhere.
Can I make a recommendation? So Director Young, I do remember the tree removal, and I know that Brad Shabel has his own tree making, or his own woodworking shop. Why don't you put a memo together about some ideas and what it is exactly that you think the district can do to help? And maybe then have them take action on that memorandum. Can you do that? Because
Yeah,
we
well-
spend a lot of time talking about all this stuff, and I think it'd be more efficient if we could just have it in writing and study it and be ready to take action on it.
Right, but we don't really know what wood is gonna be usable.
But I mean, that's the whole point. Just give us an outline of what is expectation of the use.
A table.
Okay, I mean, but how is it gonna happen? You need it to turn, you know, if write it all down and bring it to us, that would be so wonderful.
Brad and I will be happy to do it. I'm not certain on Brad. I've now got all the equipment that I would need to get that going.
Okay, could you put that together in a memo and bring it to us?
Sure, but
Thank
it's
you.
it's not gonna be easy, like, oh, we need a table. What if we can't get a table out of it? What if?
I don't think that's what I'm asking. I just want you to
Well,
outline.
I think you're talking about the
what-
project itself,
Yeah,
like
steps.
getting volunteers, reaching out to Rouse or Glenn.
That's what I'm.
That's the,
Well, I think, can I interject here, I think, you know, the idea, we have the community garden days, right? You know, I don't know if those woodworking classes, the high schools, what they do with the stuff they make, but there might be an opportunity there, if they would like to participate in that, to offer them opportunity that, you know, we have materials, if you're willing to, you know, they could be participants at the community gardens fair, right? Whether it's they have to donate it, or they're able to fundraise with it, right? But it might be worth exploring that with the high schools, that might be an opportunity, because do you know which two high schools have the workshops around here, like, is it?
It's Glenn, and it's not the local one.
It's not Rouse,
I'd have
but
to-
maybe
right.
Leander.
Probably,
Yeah, probably, I think that might be an opportunity to get some of the wood put to use, but in a way that could work with the neighbors.
Director Johnson, do you have anything to add?
So let me point out really quick, I'm just reluctant to go reaching out to a high school until I've got board approval.
Right, I think that's your main request, right?
Yeah, and I think it's, I think is there gonna be a motion on this?
Well, I
Yes.
think we need to have more clarity on exactly
Okay,
what the
well-
expectation is.
Okay, let's back up a second.
Yeah, sorry.
Director Young, please make a motion.
I would like, my motion would be to reach out to high school, see if they would be interested in participating.
Okay, and you'll lay out what they need to participate in.
Yeah,
Okay,
that'd be good.
I will second that. Now I'm gonna go around the room one more time. Director Johnson.
Thank you. No, I don't have any additional questions.
Director Roberts.
I'm gonna follow David.
Director Shoemaker.
Just, I think, yeah, we should definitely give Director Young authority to go start talking to the high schools and see what they can and can't do with this.
Okay, I'm just gonna add that, I would like for you to lay it out in a memo before you go talk to the schools. Once you talk to the schools, please circle back and involve the GM, and that way we make sure that we then have a plan for the day that you have the high schoolers out there, if they wanna be involved. And, you know, we got the waivers, all that kind of stuff that you know about, okay? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, you got that. All right, next item.
There's,
Pardon me?
Number 7.
oh, no, we're
No,
still,
he's
we're
not.
Working on this,
we're still,
Yeah,
working on the report.
we're not doing subcommittee meetings during the regular meetings.
we can, we
We're,
just,
we're working on a report here, Sandy, so.
sorry.
So, not all the wood that was, saved, was usable for lumber. There's a pile of it out there. I would like to open that up for, any wood turners or anybody wants to come and pick that up, even for firewood. So I'd like to have a motion to, release that to the public.
Okay, so I think, is it a motion or is it a directive for the GM to put that thing out there? If anybody wants to pick it up, if they don't pick it up, then we'll dispose of it.
Real quick, Sean, we can give away stuff like that, just making sure that that's the question I have, is can we direct it or can we?
Yeah, I think the directive is fine.
Okay, so, Director Young, if you're okay, I'm going to direct the GM, the waste wood pile behind the building. Just put out communication if anybody wants it. I know we've already asked some and they're not interested in it. If not, we'll figure out TDS or somebody to
Am I
do it.
required to get a waiver for every person that goes out there and picks up lumber to put it inside their vehicle?
Let's visit offline on that.
Thank you.
Okay, next item.
Disc golf course, it's still got vines popping up all over the course. This is a family-friendly course. I've been asked to do a routine maintenance guide. It's in the packet. Allows people to come in here, sign the waiver, and that, anytime they're out playing, they can, clear vines. We've got a lot of spent concrete out there on the course. Got a lot of spent, blacktop out there. I've done a certain amount of clearing of it, but haven't got it all. And the weeds, those vines keep popping up. I would like to, be able to have this for, residents to kind of help out doing routine maintenance.
Okay, so it's in the packet, there's also a red line that was handed to you, I redlined it, so, do I have a motion to approve this disc golf volunteer maintenance guide?
Motion.
Oh, second,
Hold on, are we talking about the red line one or not? Because
I think we need the discussion to, well,
What's
you should
your-
run the discussion on an agenda item and then, or we make a motion directly on your red line.
I'm making a motion on my red line.
Okay.
So, okay, let's do it again. Motion on the red line, which was sent to Director Young last night and this morning. Do I have a
I
motion?
apologize, but when I looked at it in the packet, it did not have the red lines like you had it.
Director Young, I sent it to you yesterday, and then I also sent you this morning with two additional, I just added like blockhouse and, oh, and you know what, this actually is my old version.
Why don't we do this, you made a motion, right?
Mhm.
I'll second, let's second for discussion, so we can work out which verb you wanna use and go forward, so it's actually
Okay.
on the work, so.
I open up a red line and I get absolutely no red lines.
It's not in the packet.
This is the email that I've opened up from you.
Okay, well, for some reason, whenever it did, maybe you have to hit edits or have a different view.
Okay, so, I mean, it's not even the red, there are, one line through several of these, I'm not seeing any red lines.
Can we, bring this back to the next meeting?
Absolutely.
Since we all need to look at it and,
Yeah.
and review it, so,
Well-
and we can just, because we're spending a lot of money on attorney time here, and the rest of the consultants are sitting here by the hourly rate, and this is just belaboring, and it's not a complete apparently, so I make a move that we put this on the next meeting and bring it to full discussion.
I had a
Well, I think there's-
complete document ready to go.
Real quick, we have a pending motion that Director Logan made that I seconded, that hasn't been withdrawn or disposed of to discuss the memo. And so, I mean, I don't know if a motion
So which one?
if you wanna ask for a vote on that motion, or ask Director Logan to withdraw her
Then
motion.
tell me which one we're talking
Okay,
about.
let's go with Director Young's motion, which is his in the packet for discussion. Somebody please second that.
I will second that, so we can
Okay.
go forward discussion.
Now we will start with discussion. I'm gonna start with Director Johnson.
I read the red line.
I did too.
You did it on purpose. It's page 77, the one that
Agenda
we're
item
discussing.
10 for those that have a
60
hard
seconds.
copy.
Okay, actually, since you're are you ready to
No, go
discuss? Okay, I'll start the discussion. So I'll explain my red lines. And this isn't my most recent red line, but I just added like blockhouse, disc golf, like, so I just added a little bit more formality to it. I asked, is this gonna be posted on the website or on the Mud Disc Golf Facebook page? I said that we need to add a little intro about the disc golf course, how it started, and talk to Lisa about setting up a page on the Mud website just for disc golf. What I thought was important here is, Director Young had put, is responsible for keeping the course free from litter. I agree. Waste bins can be found on the course. I agree. For additional maintenance, and what I added, because his memo is saying that we're gonna basically give carte blanche to volunteers that sign waivers, that they can go cut anything that's dead and cut off any vines, they could do X, Y, and Z. What I thought was important is that instead of giving them carte blanche to do that, that we organize community volunteer cleanup days. And there's a group of volunteers with the disc golf, I've met with 4 or 5 of them the last couple of days, and they could work with the subcommittee or the full board. You guys could go out there, put little pink ribbons around any of the stuff that we all agree should be trimmed down. So it's all in agreement, nobody's surprised if a limb goes down. And so for the clean up all tagged items, remove all tagged branches, removing spent concrete, blah, 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 remove miscellaneous items, restoring mulch, erosion control, tree planting, trimming, those are all organized cleanup community days, was my suggestion, instead of just letting people go out and do it if they sign a waiver. There needs to be a little bit more oversight, because that's really been the frustration with some of the individuals there. The other thing I added is I like that Director Young added the email there. I struck out that they go to his Facebook disc golf page. I also struck out that they would go to the other disc golf page. I talked to Lisa about setting up an official MUD Facebook disc golf page, and they would be the admin. I think that's gonna help with a lot of the issues that we've had. And then contacted the general manager if you have any questions. So those were my edits. Director Shoemaker.
I quickly read the red line, like, I think it's pretty straightforward. I don't see any major issues with Director Logan's red line as provided this year. The only thing I will say though is, and this is a question we revise later if we want, dirt and gravel restored to washed out T-pads. I'm not sure what the scope is. This sounds pretty small. I mean, I'll be honest, if folks are just kind of taking their feet and scooting the dirt back so they can play the course, I don't think we need to necessarily have that be community cleanup. We don't need to hassle people with that either. If they're coming out with like equipment and stuff, that's a different animal, but,
It sometimes needs a shovel, like, one would get kind of washed out, and you wanna keep the concrete from floating away, the concrete block, but it's not just like shoving it with your shoes, but it's not
okay, it's
much
more
more
than
than a little shovel.
It's not like heavier, okay, but I mean, but I do think that, honestly, whether it's, I would kind of prefer that, just as a personal matter, for efficiency of things, that strike me is that, we should probably, the subcommittee go out, tag some stuff, and then Tripp go out and tag some stuff that might need to be done, cause he's out, right, Tripp y'all's folks are folks out doing the landscape work. I don't know if Lisa needs to do anything, and then just kinda have that list harmonized and go from there.
Yeah, Tripp has a little bit of, we still have the golf course maintenance in your contract, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah, so why
would it
do
be
we do
feasible to just have recommendations made and pass those along to Tripp as in the course of things?
Professionally done.
Yeah.
That's another option. But I do understand the users, just like the community garden, we do want them to have some ownership and do some of these items, but yeah, some of that.
Well, I also have a question of, I mean, Tripp, I don't wanna, we're paying y'all guys, like, for stuff that, you know, my preference would be that for stuff that only Tripp can do, it's best that Tripp spends his time doing that, versus, you know, oh, there's some twigs, you know, somebody needs Tripp to come out and get the twigs, that's kind of my concern, is I don't wanna waste Tripp's time on tiny little minuscule projects.
I think it's super important, Director Shoemaker. Tripp and I, we actually did go out and project manage and actually worked with the designer on this disc golf course. I think it's important to utilize the landscaper and even the smaller items as far as the twigs are concerned. Right now, it looks like that this disc golf course, and Tripp, I don't know the last time you walked it, but I actually went out there yesterday, and it absolutely is not the same course at all. We have shrubbery that has been literally completely removed. The meticulous branches that were supposed to be in a particular place are no longer there. We have cedar trees that have been atrociously hacked. I mean, we genuinely want more of a landscaper's perspective as opposed to letting residents just go out there. I think if you wanna bring a rake, I think if you want to come in and pick up the leftover limbs, if you want to make sure that trash is removed from the area, I think that would be super important, but it's not the same course at all. I mean, there were berms that were created in order for there to be a safety, you know, for residents whenever, or a player whenever they're throwing their disc, and that's no longer there. And so you risk, you know, an ankle from somebody, you know, getting hit by another, you know, disc from being flung from the other side. It's not the same place. And even as of yesterday, I mean, you have cedars that have been cut. You can smell it, you can see the red that's protruding from the cedars, you can see trees that were not affected by the freeze at all, that have literally been limbed up so far. I mean, they're just basically sticks now, with a little bit of topping on them. You have, you know, major areas that have been cut through to be able to access another tee, as opposed to it being the course that was actually designed for it. It's not maintenance. It has literally been completely redesigned.
The berm you're talking about.
Can I
Hold on, just go around.
well, I'm gonna think on Lisa. And Lisa, I mean, I get what you're saying, but I will say this much. You know, Mr. Huck seems like a nice man, I know he paid for it. But at the end of the day, the folks that elected me are the taxpayers and residents of the district, right? And, you know, now I'm not saying they should have carte blanche changing because we're all owners, right?
Right.
But the flip side is if the people in the disc golf community that actually use the course through appropriate channels want to make changes, I have no problem with it. I prefer, if they wanna do, they do it on their own hook as far as money goes. I don't wanna spend a lot of extra money, we're kinda tight on the budget this year. But again, if the actual users, it's like any other facility in the neighborhood, if the users come back and like, hey, the design folks did it this way and we think it works better this way, within reason, I see no reason as that in itself being an objective, not because I disrespect the designers, but simply there are residents, they're the actual users, you can't guess everything right. So I don't wanna belabor the point, but I think Director Logan hit the nail on the head, we need to have some kind of ownership from these folks, to have their involvement, just like community garden and other aspects of the neighborhood. And I think Director Logan's memo, I think with the red lines, does a good job of trying to have a framework, you gotta start somewhere. These things are not gonna be written in stone, and we have to come back and change, but I think it's better to get something moving than just continuously studying it to death.
Okay,
I totally agree.
Director, Roberts.
Lisa, you and I had a conversation earlier, and apparently there's been somebody using chainsaws out there, am I
Yes,
correct?
ma'am, you do have, people that have, well, our parks person has seen Director Young utilizing a pocket chainsaw. I think you, happened to see him on the Polaris, he was going to, the Bear Trash Can, and you were out at T-Post, actually Fairway 8, and you have a pocket chainsaw that he actually
Not
started
true.
utilizing.
Not true.
So the point is that it was seen, and, you know, I think it's super important that the subcommittee that's created for the Germano Disc Golf Course, that it's a collective effort and just not autonomous, you know, people going out there and doing a one-off. If you
So-
actually have, you know, a
Yeah,
collective.
let's keep going around, we'll get back to you,
Yeah,
Director.
that's, but, because I mean,
We're
I'm
throwing
obviously.
accusations out.
We'll get to you in just a
Let me
minute.
clarify what happened.
You know what?
Chance.
So, what I would like to add in here, that there's no chainsaws used, and, any type of, you know, damage to the things. I also think, that we could put an organized community cleanup, and,
That's what it says.
yeah, okay, and then signed waivers will be required, and then also, like, who's gonna pay for the restoring the mulch and the gravel? That's something we could all work out, and I think your red line is very, very helpful. And then, definitely keep in mind what Tripp's contract says, like Sean said, he's got some obligations in the contract that was approved in the budget, so I'd like to keep them on top of it. And, whether, we don't own it, by the way, because the MUD owns it, okay? So we're just the users of the facility. And, it's a privilege to go out and use those facilities. So I would like to also make sure that we understand that, that it's gotta retain its whole purpose, you know, not just go in and redesign it with a few volunteers that think they like it like this. The redesign needs to probably come back to the board and be approved by them. If there is any altering of berms or removing of large trees that seem to be an obstacle, I just think a unified board decision would be very good. And we can
Okay.
maybe get input from those people that use it on a regular basis.
Okay,
Thank you.
Director, yes, thank you. Director Johnson?
I like all of the things in the original, the board item, all the vines, you know, the list of things that can be done. I do like the idea that they're organized by the mud board, I agree that I think it is everybody's, but we're the stewards of it, certainly. So yeah, that's really all.
Okay, Director Young.
So, this is not requesting any budget. This is stuff that volunteers can do. We're just trying to outline what they can do, what they can organize and do with approval from the board. They're not looking for anything, but if there is a project that does require some budget, then they can request it then, and we can decide if and when to give them that budget, right? But this is to give them ownership. They go out there, they play 20 hours a year, they can put in a couple hours to keep up with the course, and keep the thorn vines off their ankles. Now, the chainsaw, I think that, our parks guy, what he saw me with was a weed whacker, and it was, motorized. It was early in my, term. I did not know that we're not to use, gasoline powered items. This was a patch on 4. We had a lot of weeds coming up, and we also had a lot of vines. Every time you land a disc in there, you're raking your ankles. So I wanted to get that taken care of, because I mean, you guys don't need to see my legs and on how many times I've been raked, but, since then, since I've learned, I've asked, GM to put that onto Trip's, map of routine maintenance, and it's been done. And in fact, I think basket 4 looks better than it ever has, thank you, Trip. Facebook, the link, now, as I recall, the Gardner page that they're using right now was originally created by Director Logan.
And the mud is admin of it.
Right, so instead of rebuilding another one, the intentions of the Facebook that I created was creating a public one where we could lost and found, but I'd be happy to push that over to the admin if we're all okay with that. I don't need to be on admin on that anymore, but it's a useful lost and found. I know that previously a wedding ring's been found and recovered after that, so I don't know why we need to have a third Facebook group and trying to get people to jump on that, but I would like to have that just transferred over to the GM. There's also discussion about how the course has completely changed. Fortunately, there is a drone video that I could share with anybody that wants to take a look, compare and contrast, but the only real changes on that have been weeds been getting pushed back. Dead branches have been getting removed from some of those cedars, and the ice storm, of course, but for the most part, it's all the same. Later on in my report for amenities, I want to replant some trees where the old ones went down and restore the original integrity of it. I've been collecting quite a bit of black walnuts. I'm ready to start getting those planted. First things first, let's get them germinated, and we'll start rebuilding the course to where it was.
Okay, so you have a motion for your version. All in,
I think you made I think you moved, which I second for the one in the packet.
but
And
then we switch.
I was gonna amend it, can I make an amended motion to adopt the red line version? So need a second,
I'll second.
thank you.
Okay. Now, Director Roberts did give some good feedback on adding like no chainsaws and incorporating what we have with Trip with his contract. So I think there's a few more edits that need to be here. So, what I would suggest is that let's bring this back next month with some of the edits. Or do you think just to put those edits in there and then we can come back to final approval? What do you think, Director Shoemaker?
I mean,
I think too many versions floating around, let's get one and.
The question was to Director Shoemaker.
Yeah, cause I made the motion to adopt the red line version. I think if we wanna come back and amend it further, we can do it later, but I just didn't, we waited a long time to get volunteer participation in the neighborhood and
Yeah.
trying to get something moving rather
Yeah.
than nothing.
Okay, I did speak with several of the very active current disc golfers, and I walked it with them, and I received several communications from them, phone calls. I talked to them about the red line, and they were much more comfortable with the red line than the original. They had some real concerns.
Well, and I've got a neighbor, to your point, who has come by with comments about, and I've talked to Lisa about it, right?
Okay.
And everyone, he's like, I just remember about Trip, some of the stuff he was talking about is like hopefully way below the Trip threshold of like involvement, but at the same time, like, if there's a subcommittee and having essentially a volunteer effort is in that wheelhouse, absolutely.
Okay, Director Johnson.
I was gonna suggest that since Director Roberts' suggestions were fairly straightforward, maybe we could just grant you the license to make them and
Okay.
approve it, and if you make them wrong, we can add it later.
Okay, great. Okay, all in favor of the red line?
With,
Yes, I wrote it down, but yeah, let's,
so my, sug-
mine were too, but I think I got between.
How about this, I'll withdraw my motion, so Director Johnson.
I motion that we adopt the red line with the addition that direct you to make Director Roberts additions of the chainsaw and the.
Trip.
Oh, yeah, and you'll making sure the Trip is integrated
Okay,
into that.
I will second that.
all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, great. I do wanna say that we've only gone through maybe a quarter of this page, and it is 8 o'clock. So is there anything that we can put off to the next month? Erosion control, we've already covered, it's in this. You mentioned the trees already. Can we move on to security?
I would love to have a normal subcommittee meeting,
You're absolutely allowed
like
to.
we would.
You're absolutely allowed to.
It's been deferred to the May meetings, so I don't know how we're gonna have a meeting.
What do you mean it's been deferred to the May meetings?
It was in the emails.
No, you can absolutely have a
It was
subcommittee
when
meeting.
all my subcommittee meetings were
Okay.
canceled.
We can have a subcommittee meeting this month if you would like.
Okay, unfortunately, I'm not meeting personally with you
Okay.
ever again.
Okay, well then, we will have the next subcommittee in November when we have new subcommittees. So I'm gonna suggest, can we move on to security? Okay. Park hours, opening time and beginning date for new hours.
We've talked about when the parks are gonna close, but we don't know when they're opening at this point. I know that not too long ago, GM started opening the parks earlier, but it seems like that's something that the board decides on the park closing hours, and so they should probably be deciding on the park opening when the lights were getting turned on while it was still dark in the morning.
So what's your question?
What time are the parks going to open?
I don't think the parks are changing at all.
For clarity, in the park rules that you all have, it says, at dawn. And so obviously dawn changes with the time change. And residents were out doing pickleball and they asked that we turn the light on for them. And because in the park rules that you all have approved, there's not a specific dawn time, I, actually changed the timer so that way they're able to play earlier. So it wasn't me opening the parks up, I was just following the rules that you all had already approved.
I think it's a reasonable request, I mean, it's a facility, and it's, you know, we don't want them on there at 3 in the morning.
So if it's
Right.
after dawn, they should have the light, but if they want lights on a little bit earlier, I'm fine with that, let's open it up, but.
Okay, it's already done, so are you asking for a change?
What's the item are we discussing here?
Park hours opening time.
Okay, do you
But they
want
haven't
something changed
changed.
than what it is
I
already?
would like to find a regular time for the parks to officially open.
Okay.
I'm gonna make a motion that we keep it as it is right now, as it's working. Do I have a second? Any discussion, Director Johnson?
No.
Director Young?
No.
Director Roberts? Director Shoemaker?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next item. Parking lot gates, which ones to continue locking? I don't think we covered this. Well, I mean, we kind of covered it with your abandoned vehicle thing. Is there anything else in addition that you want with this?
I thought we were talking about maybe not locking all of them every night.
Okay, do you have a motion?
I would like to stop locking the three, one across the street, Tumlinson, and
I'll second.
Tonkawa.
Discussion, Director Johnson.
I would want a more detailed plan.
Director Roberts.
I definitely want those gates locked.
Director
So
Shoemaker.
What were you saying?
I just, for safety and just protocol, it's been there, established for a good reason, and I just think they need to be locked. We can't favor one park over the other.
Director Shoemaker.
I think at this point, changing the locking schedule is premature, given we've just changed the hours.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
No,
Your motion is to not lock.
his motion was to not lock
Oh,
those three.
sorry, withdraw my vote.
Okay, all in favor of the motion by Director Young?
I'm in favor.
All opposed? Nay.
Nay, okay.
Okay, padlock audit, what's your motion?
Not everything here needs to be in motion, I don't believe, but I did see in the GM's report that there was a padlock audit, but I didn't see any of the details, how many people control keys and padlocks for each of the different locks.
Okay, I don't think that's necessarily something that the directors need to know, but I'm gonna go around the table. Please make a motion that what you're requesting, which I think is you
I
want to
would
see the
like to
results
see
of the
the
audit.
padlock audit.
Okay, I'll second. Director Johnson.
I have no,
Director Roberts.
I think it's an absurd request.
Can
Director
it be a
Shoemaker.
directive?
For her to give him the results of the audit?
Yeah.
Okay, it can be, okay, I have nothing to add to this. All in favor of his motion Okay.
Is there,
But that's what I was asking, if it can be directed, that's just like, we just direct.
Okay, we will direct you to, please give Director Young the results of the audit. Okay, moving on.
Same thing with the security camera. I don't know what resolutions are going on. I don't know what we're covering at any given moment. Being on the security subcommittee, I think that that would be, valuable. It is on the, it is in the report that's been completed, but nobody on the security.
Okay, so your
subcommittee
motion is to get the security camera audit.
Let's do a directive again.
Okay, I don't necessarily agree that that information should go to all the directors, so I'll let somebody else decide if they wanna do
I
that.
think we should remain with the GM and only the GM.
Okay, Director Shoemaker,
Don't really have any comment here.
okay, Director Johnson,
I also, so it's, what is the, can you tell me what, really quick, what the security camera audit entails?
So,
I don't know what the word audit means, but
yeah,
like what is in it?
I know all the locations of where every single camera is at and every, type of camera that you guys have out here, work with
And some of the
conference.
technical specs, no doubt.
Exactly.
Okay.
Resolution, distance. where
technical
you can-
specs.
Where you can see a license plate.
Okay, so,
That's what we hired conference for, so everything is confidential, but we have all of that.
I'm gonna make the motion, because I'm not sure if it really went through, because we're talking about a directive.
Mhm.
To give the security camera audit to all the directors, do I have a second? Okay, doesn't.
I'd like to make a motion to have the security camera audit, sent to the security subcommittee.
Okay, do I have a second?
Wait, hold on, wait.
To the security
The
subcommittee
security
audit.
subcommittee
I mean,
to
just
see
your-
the audit.
Oh, okay, sorry,
Alright, do I have a second? Okay, moving on. Disc golf maintenance guide we've covered, so I think we have everything covered on your page unless I missed something.
Yeah, that was all the item that you redlined.
Can we go through the consultants now?
Yes, absolutely, and I apologize to every single one of you. Let's go ahead and go to David, Tripp, sorry. One of her names.
Almost got you.
Okay, number 7.
Yeah, close.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hi.
Had a fairly uneventful month this month, just the normal activities. We did start on the fall mulching, that will continue through October, as well as the fall fertilizer and pre-emergent. Other than that, everything is rolling smoothly.
Perfect, thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Priority Landscapes? Okay, thank you, and I'm so sorry we kept you
Thank you.
this
Just a
long.
quick question. There was a request for budgeting, breakdown, which parks got which. What is the status on that?
That was turned in on the budget, on our budget form that we turned into Lisa.
Okay, so it was more than a month ago, a couple months ago? How long ago was that sent to Lisa?
Whenever we did the budget request, that was 6 weeks ago, maybe?
Okay, so we were already through the budget. Is there a reason why does anybody understand why we didn't get a copy of that
I'm not concerned.
Copy of what?
of the breakdown that Priority Landscape sent to the GM?
That was the
like-
GM's role to look at that information.
I thought they did send something, I thought
They
you,
did it.
no, I thought you sent something to,
She did.
am I imagining
She
that?
sent it out in a little Excel spreadsheet.
Okay,
Can I get the date on that? Cause I'd like to see it. Maybe it
We'll-
wasn't.
so we're gonna take that offline and Lisa can get that back to you and resend it to you. Thank you very much, my apologies. Okay,
Thank you,
Going
have
on.
a good night.
Number 19 is David Gray.
19, David Gray.
And can we take 27?
Oh,
Okay,
Can we
no,
take 27 with 19?
No, we go
yeah, but
back
we're not
to
doing that, but yeah.
Crossroads Utility Service.
Okay, Crossroads Utility,
That's gonna be number 20.
number 20, and I am so sorry this is your first meeting with us.
No, I'm sorry.
No, do not apologize.
Hi, everybody.
I was wondering who he was.
My name is Dallas Worth. I am filling in for Ben. He's currently in Florida dodging a hurricane. I just wanted to report, on the Crossroads side, the water loss did jump up to 13%, as you'll see in the report. Ben has already pulled up the water loss for the arrears, and it is back down to 9%. He'll continue to monitor that, in the future. No write-offs, and I believe that, Sean had something, on the AT&T stuff, and I believe that's it. I don't know if you're covering that later.
I'm good, I will cover that with the board now, thank you for asking.
Any
Great job,
questions
Dallas.
for me?
Thank you.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Have a good evening. Okay, David Gray,
Briefly, the reports in the packet.
awesome.
I could say that's the end of it, okay, but
Let's go ahead and go into the PEC utility easement,
yes, ma'am.
I saw it somewhere.
number
It's a-
27. And okay, we're gonna pull that and, yeah, let's get through some other stuff and then we'll make this quick. I'm not doing this. PR, number 11, PR communications, is there anything to report?
Oh, no,
Okay, 11C, YouTube tags for recordings, how is that going, Chris?
Could have been taken last couple of weeks.
Okay, awesome.
Chris?
Restricted covenants, 12A.
I'm sorry, we do need to go to executive session.
Okay, so we'll have two can we be in executive, we're come out and go back in, come back in?
I think you can cover both things in there, yeah.
Okay, so 12A, 13A will be that. Okay, finance audit. Oh gosh, Taylor, I'm so sorry.
That's okay. It's good to see y'all. I'll make it super quick. Checks for your approval today.
Taylor, I'm
We
so
can't
sorry.
hear you.
You can hear me?
We can't hear you.
Oh,
You're on the big screen. The gigantic screen. But your glasses look good.
Yeah, I said too.
Try speaking now, if you would.
is it working now?
Hear you now, Taylor.
It is, it's good.
Yeah,
We're good.
We're good? Cool. All right, checks for your approval are check 9086 through 9130. I'll add that supplemental for Premier as well. We just had one other supplemental, 9131, which is just your holding check for First Citizens. 3 transfers, your normal transfers this month, no investments for your approval today. We'll have one at your October meeting. And then obviously Ashley was there tonight. We'll be getting ready here to start your audit shortly. So getting ready for that, but otherwise that's really all I've got for y'all.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve payment of bills?
Motion.
Contract, second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, credit card, payments, I'm gonna hold this. Bank account for market days, I'm gonna hold that. Report from finance and audit subcommittee, I don't think
Emma was in the.
yeah, did we already get that? Okay, good.
We did PR communications, I have an
Yeah.
item 11C, YouTube
I
tags,
I
are we
mentioned
going back to that?
Nope, I mentioned that, and Chris said he's been tagging stuff, and you didn't add anything to the conversation.
Okay, I just wanted to run it by everybody else, let them know that we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
but-
No, we're already doing it,
Yeah,
Chris
sure.
said that, maybe you missed that, but he said he's already doing it.
Okay,
Okay, let's move on to report from TDS.
It's in the packet.
Okay, stormwater management. Report from services subcommittee, do you guys have anything?
They didn't get to meet this month.
Okay,
Yeah, we're
Okay.
done.
okay,
We all
good.
covered the-
We already covered neighborhood watch, national night out, got that under,
My report's in the packet.
okay, I'm Bushman Brown.
Reports in the packet?
I don't have anything specific, there are some things we have to cover in exec. With that said, do you mind if we go back to 12A?
Sure.
Covenant, so,
Software.
yeah, so y'all might recall that some of you might, when we brought CAM online, they have been using the SmartWeb software. Jack Baker, who's the main guy at CAM, has reached out to us and has indicated that SmartWebs has made a decision to change how they market some of their software they can use. And basically, I think we've been using a portion of what they have available, and this is the application that they use to log all their stuff, and it sends out the violations and all that. Long story short, SmartWebs has said you can either go with all of our software and get that as part of it, which I guess CAM doesn't need all that, or if you wanna just use this, there's gonna be a fee, a new fee structure for you. And so Jack had basically said, if you guys want, we have a new system of software that we're gonna use in place of what we've been doing for the majority of our clients. If you guys wanna keep SmartWebs, you can, but I have to pass the cost on to you. And so in sum, it's fairly significant. I think it's
40 cents.
40 cents per house per month. So it ends up being about $400 per month. In talking with Jack earlier today, he said for one, they will be able to, they will be able to retain all the data for everything they've logged in SmartWebs over the past couple of years. And two, he says that the new software is substantially similar, doesn't look the same, but it captures all the same information and covers the same material in the same way, basically. So the formatting will be different in terms of what goes out to residents, in terms of the pre-formatted letters. The reports as they come in the packet will look a little bit different, but according to Jack, substantively it would be about the same. So I had visited with Director Johnson on this earlier today. So you guys can make the decision, or if you would like, if you want to defer to the subcommittee for them to kind of visit with Jack. With that said, Jack reached out, I think in late August, after your August meeting. The decision does need to be passed on to Jack by the end of September. So we've got a couple days to make a decision. If you guys are comfortable, I feel comfortable representing to you guys that I think it will be substantially similar based on what Jack told me. But if you want the subcommittee to investigate, we also have that as an option as well.
I make a motion that we, I was gonna make a motion that we approve the use of smart web software and with the change.
The new system,
Yes.
smart web system, but yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Then we move to the new system.
Sorry.
I'll second, no.
Okay.
Sean, just to clarify, did he just delineate between we retain the old records or integrate the new records and the old records into the new system?
He did indicate, I don't know that it's gonna be able to be integrated immediately, but they would have the data there to access when they need to.
Okay, so I might add a couple manual steps to him in the short term. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I remember there were some outstanding questions in the subcommittee about that, so.
Okay.
But if it's substantial.
Director, you have any questions?
Yeah, so this is Cam, so this would be the non-OA, the mud side.
Correct.
The numbers that Sean gave us was 40 cents per house per month, which is about $400, so that's times 1,000, so it's almost like, are we only charging the blockhouse mud side for this?
Yeah. You can't
We
charge
only pay the cost, like they're only pursuing the houses.
960 or
For
980
reasons,
homes.
Okay,
can't
but-
get the word out. They're only
But
reviewing
the
the
OA
houses.
side is also paying into their
No,
tax bill.
they have-
Okay, great.
Well, the OA side pays their taxes, however, when it comes to the cost of this contract, when they're looking at it on a per house basis, only for the portion that is not in the OA. So yes, you may argue there's some level of cross subsidization, but if this amount on the overall size of the budget is relatively small, it's unavoidable in a neighborhood such as ours, there'll be some level on some of these expenses.
Gotcha, I'm clear.
Yeah, that was good, that's good explanation.
Just to make sure here, the motion is to utilize the new software and not pay extra to keep SmartWebs, right?
Correct, Cecilia,
Exactly, that would be the modified.
Johnson
Motion and
second,
second.
yeah. Okay, all,
Wait, Director Johnson, you have something you're concerned with?
Nope, I contributed on it, so.
Oh.
And I'll say, because that's what piece is, I wanna make sure that we keep our access.
yeah, that's a good point. Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Alright,
Anybody opposed? Okay, now can we go into exec? Okay. Okay, so we're out of executive, no decisions were made, no actions were taken. And you just said number 31. Oh yeah, no. Okay, so I'm gonna direct our attorney to go ahead and move forward and work with, litigation on, the AT&T sub outstanding matter.
The demand.
well, I think we're gonna, if they're giving 30 days to
Yeah.
respond, and then if they don't, we're willing to pursue litigation.
Thank you for cleaning that up. Okay, and then we are going, one of you guys.
Was that a direct or was that a motion on that one? Director Hollis?
Directed.
And for ours, I need to move back to item 13A, so I'll make a motion that, the property at 115,006 Snelling Drive has multiple outstanding, violations of of the covenants. And given our concern about the property values of their neighbors, the district as a whole, we'd like to initiate litigation with them to resolve those outstanding violations. And so I'd like to make a motion for that, if I can get a second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And our last item is the PPC matter, and that will be a directive to the attorney to go ahead and work, finish up the
Easement,
easement issue.
on the tree issue.
Yeah.
With an amount.
Work on,
Yeah.
work on the amount.
Let them negotiate the amount, I think.
Yeah,
I think
that's
we're all
it.
on the same page.
We
Okay,
got it.
great. The final,
Meetings for November, December.
yeah, so that's what's 31, that's what she keeps poking me about. Our meetings for November and December, we usually move up 1 week ahead because of the holidays. I've been asked that we move the November meeting to November 13th, which is 2 weeks ahead. It may pose a little bit an issue with invoicing, but I think we can work with our subs on that. So are you guys all okay with November 13th? Is anyone not okay with November 13th?
Yes, not okay with November 13th, if we can,
Yeah, I don't know if I can commit to that tonight, I don't wanna tell you I can make it.
I can do the day before or the day after.
The 12th or the 14th?
Now that I've said that, maybe I should look. Yes, I can.
Okay,
I've got,
November,
I've got nothing on the 12th.
okay, November 12th, does that work for the majority? It works for me.
And for you, sorry.
I get to visit.
Citizens communication.
Okay,
November 12th.
I know that she's available that time. Okay, so we're gonna go and do November 12th for the November meeting. And then December, we're looking at just the week before,
December 11th, actually.
December 11th. Does that work for everyone? I know that's really hard to look that far into the,
That's okay, for 1 second,
Bless.
I'm just looking.
Yeah.
So we're doing 11, 12, and 12, 11.
yeah. Oh, good one.
I could do 12th or 10th.
On the December?
Yes.
I don't know if I can do the 10th.
All right, how about 12? How about 12, 12? Actually, that'd make it
12,
easy.
12, yeah, I think that should be clear, let me double check here.
Okay, let's do
Yeah.
12, 12. And November 12th, so both be on the 12th, so I don't know.
Excellent.
Maybe that'll.
Okay.
What?
Those on the calendar.
Okay, great. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Awesome, okay.